Welcome back to the Common Application. Let's complete the Bushnell University application. Before I log in, I want to point out that I'm coming to this just as prepared as when I started the application. I've made sure that I have all of the information that I need in order to complete the questions in front of me, and that includes knowing the short answer questions that are going to be on this section of the application, having written them out and ready to go to just copy and paste when I get to that section of the application. So I'm prepared and ready to log in. And when I log back into the Common App website, the first page that I get to is the dashboard. And this is a place that lists all of the universities and colleges that I have decided I'm going to apply to using Common App. And it gives me a sense of where I'm at in that process. So I'll find Bushnell and click on Show More Details. And that, well, shows me more details. It lets me know that the Common Application, the part that has the questions that are being required for every university that I'm applying to, is complete, but there are still some sections that are in progress specifically for the university. When I click on that first one that's in progress, the questions, it takes me to the section that has those questions. And on the left-hand side, you'll notice that it also has additional sections that I'm going to need to be able to complete for Bushnell as well. These questions are going to be asked only by Bushnell, and when the applications are submitted, these responses are going to go only to Bushnell. That means that when I'm working on other universities' supplementary questions, there may be some that are similar, and I will need to answer them again, because these questions, again, only go to the university that is being worked on right now. Some questions are, again, you'll recall, will have a red asterisk or star, and that means that these questions are required of me. If there is no red star, it's an optional question. There may be a very good reason to answer that question, and we'll talk about that when we get to them. So first, when am I planning to enroll? You know I'm expecting to graduate in the spring and to enroll the following fall. And my preferred admission plan, there's only one choice here, and that's rolling admission. Rolling admission means that I submit my application to the university, they review it, and they respond to me fairly quickly with a response about my admission status. Now, this question is about whether or not I am planning to live on campus. And it reminds me that this is required of me until I'm 21 unless I live locally with family. I don't live locally to Bushnell, so of course I do plan to stay on campus. Am I planning to apply for federal student aid? I am. And so again, I'm coming to questions that are not required here. And so I see no reason not to answer these questions. I will not be using military benefits. I will not be a dependent or spouse of an employee at Bushnell. They're asking me for the name of my church. So if you're applying to Bushnell, know that Bushnell is a Christian university. And so it is very likely that there will be questions that ask me about my religious experience and beliefs. And so I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. I have not visited campus, but if you have, you'll want to go ahead and click yes. And these are programs that I may have participated in high school to earn college credit. And I have taken an advanced placement class, and I plan to take that exam, or I am taking one now, and I plan to take that exam. So I'm hoping to get college credit for that, so I will choose that. And I can continue. This is asking me what I'm interested in studying when I arrive, and you'll notice that there are a lot of different options. And I am somebody who is not sure exactly what I want to study, and so I'm going to choose undecided, and that's acceptable. It'll give me an opportunity to consider my options and choose them later. If you already know what you want to study and what you plan to major in, you can choose that there. And I'm done with the academic section and click continue. And now they're asking about my activities. Now you'll recall that in the Common Application section, I entered the activities that I'm involved in. Now what they're interested in knowing about is what I might like to participate in when I arrive at the university in the fall. And so I can choose. I participated in science club when I was in high school, and I think maybe I would be interested in doing that again. And so I would like to add a second one, so I can choose add another activity, and you can see that I am able to add up to 5 activities that I'm interested in. I was involved in some volunteer work, and I think I would like to continue that. And let's see if there are any others that I'm interested in. I don't think so. I think right now that's enough for me. And so I will remove that third activity and go on to the next question. And this is asking me to provide some information about my involvements in school, church, and community. So to add some additional information about the things that I've been involved in. And you'll recall, I have already answered these questions and just need to copy and paste my responses here and move on. I am not actively being recruited by a coach. I'm not an athlete, so I'm going to say no. But let's see what happens if you have been recruited, and it's going to ask you what sport. So you'll want to make sure you complete that. But the answer for me is no, and I can move on. Colleges and universities are interested in hearing how you heard about them. And so this is the opportunity to share that information. This is not a required question, but if you remember how you heard about the university, they're definitely interested in learning a little bit more about that. And for me, my school counselor told me about Bushnell, and so I'm going to choose that. If I had additional answers to that, I could add up to 10 different ways that I had heard about the university. This is a question asking me whether or not I'm willing to have the college contact me via my cell phone. So am I willing to let them text me or possibly call me? And this is an opportunity for me to hear from the university in a more immediate way about my things that might be missing from my application, deadlines that I might need to be reminded of, or other important information. And so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And then I'm going to provide my phone number. And click continue. This section is asking about my family. There were some family questions asked in the Common Application, but now Bushnell is interested in learning just a little bit more about my family as it relates to their interests. And the first one is, do I have a sibling currently attending the university? And here they specifically mean attending Bushnell. For me, the answer is no. Again, Bushnell is a Christian university, and so they're interested in knowing whether my parents, one or both of them, is in the ministry. And for me, the answer is no, but if for you the answer is yes, you'll want to complete that. And let's see if they ask any additional questions. They don't. So you'll just want to answer that correctly for you. If neither of your parents has attended college, then you are a first-generation college student, and you can go ahead and click yes there. If one of your parents has attended, you'll want to choose no. And this is a question about whether my parents or my grandparents have graduated from Bushnell University. And at the time, it would have been called Northwest Christian University. So do you have a parent or grandparent who graduated from Northwest Christian? For me, the answer is no. And we'll click continue. And now they want to know a really common question that colleges and universities are interested in, and that is, why do you want to come here? And so again, I've already written my answer to that, and I can just come in, copy, and paste it here, and click continue. Okay, now this section is asking me to certify 2 important things. One is that everything that I've written in this application is true and accurate, and 2, that I have read the policy, standards, and expectations and for Bushnell University, and that I agree to abide by them. And so before I sign, I will want to go to the website and download either the student handbook or the academic catalog and make sure that I'm reading those policy, standards, and expectations and can agree to them. And if the answer to that is yes, then I can sign my full name here or type my full name, which will be used as my signature, and press continue. Okay, this section is all about how your transcripts and recommendation letters and other supporting documents get from your high school to the college in a way that protects your rights under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. And so we're going to go through this process to allow that to happen. First, you're going to want to read through the instructions for what's coming, and you'll definitely want to make sure to read these instructions. It'll tell you how the Privacy Act relates to your college application and what that means for you. You're going to be asked whether or not you want to waive the right to review your confidential letters of recommendation, and there's some advice about how to make that decision, and also some information about who you can talk to get some help in understanding this. Once you've read and understand these, you'll want to click here and continue. This is making sure that you understand that once you sign this form, every high school or every college that you've already attended is going to now have the right to release the documents that are being requested by the college. And so you can go ahead and say yes. And now you have that opportunity to choose about whether or not you want to waive the right to your recommendation and support, to review the recommendation and supporting documents. And you'll choose the one that is correct for you. And then you'll want to make sure that when you click this box, you understand that the choice that you've made above is the choice that you're making not just for Bushnell University as you complete this application, but for all of the applications that you're submitting, and that once a recommendation or application is submitted, you can't change this. So you want to make sure that you're making the decision that you are particularly meaning to do here. And then once you do, you'll sign that and date it. And it helps me know what today's date is, and save and close. And it takes me to the next section. This is the opportunity that I have in order to ask somebody to provide a letter of recommendation for me. And it tells me that I can choose a number of different people. For Bushnell, I am required to invite a counselor, because that's who's going to complete some of the forms for me. And I can choose up to 3 teachers to invite to provide a recommendation. I am also allowed to ask up to 3 people who fit some of these other categories. And I am able to invite somebody to review my application before I submit it, but they don't actually get to send any forms on my behalf. So let's go through the process for inviting the counselor, because that is required here. I need to know my counselor's email address and their title. He is a Mr. and his name. And when I click invite, Common App will send a message to my counselor letting them know that he is invited to participate in this process with me. Now I have the option to decide whether or not I want him to be able to see my entire application. This is an option that you have. They'll be able to see a PDF of that application, but it will have all of your information on it. And so that includes some private information like your social security number. You can choose to enable that preview. Make sure that you know for sure that that's something that you want to do. And if you do, then you can click enable preview, and it's actually going to ask you to certify that that is something that you are willing to have happen for this person. So I am going to choose not to have a teacher or other recommender for this particular application, but if you have additional people, it's going to work exactly the same way. You'll invite your teacher and they'll ask for the same information, but also ask, what subject does that teacher teach you? And then it'll ask specifically, do you want this person to provide an evaluation for Bushnell University? And they're asking this because you have the option to ask them to submit multiple letters on your behalf, and you can choose which teachers you want to send recommendation letters to which colleges. But we're going to move on and click continue. And now we have the opportunity to move forward and submit the application. The first thing that we should do is review all of the information on the application. And so we should go back through and read through that. Then we'll pay the application fee and submit the application. Now, remember that Bushnell does not require the personal essay with the Common Application. It's one of the colleges that we are applying to that doesn't require it, but we can choose to send it if we want to. I've written it, I feel confident in it, and so I'm going to go ahead and say, sure, include my personal essay. But you don't have to, you get that choice, and you can click review and submit. This gives you the opportunity now to read through your application, and you can see it as a PDF file, and you can see what it is going to look like for the college when they see it. So you can do that, and you can click review PDF, and it will pull it up in a larger screen. And when you say, yes, I am ready to go, I can click continue. And I do not have an application fee here, so when I click continue, it gives me the option to affirm some things. So I need to read through each of these. They all have a red asterisk, so I need to read through each of them, make sure that I agree with them, and click on the box after reading them and knowing that I agree and will follow through. And then I can sign and date and click submit. And once I do, I've finished my application, I've applied to Bushnell, and so have you. Congratulations.